Just wanted to do a quick vlog, not weight loss related or anything like that. Just on a more sort of serious note, really. I did record a video regarding this subject at the weekend, and it just waffled on, and I didn't really come to any relevance of it. So I'm going to try and keep it as not as short as possible you can. Obviously, a message I need to get across, but try and keep it relevant to the point. Obviously, I know I've got people subscribers. Not many people subscribe, but people that are in the other countries apart from the UK. But the message is still relevant to everyone around the world. And that message is about first aid and learning and keeping your skills updated. And all this has come about, obviously. If you've been watching the news, I think it must have been. Must have made it around the world. I'm not sure in the States. Obviously the sports are quite big over there, and soccer is very big, or football as we call it here in the UK. But I know that it's it pretty would have reached you guys, because obviously we don't live under rocks anymore. So, but it's what happened to a football player over here called Fabrice Muamba, who plays for a team called Bolton Wanderers, and if you didn't know what happened, I'll keep it brief, because you probably do know. Fabrice Muamba, basically in the middle of a football match, sort of 5 minutes before half time, collapsed during the football match when had no one around and just fell to the floor. And it turns out he after digesting for a couple of days, that he went into cardiac arrest, and at the moment he's still in hospital, but it's looking fairly positive for him, and we've all been praying for him, and everybody's been sending out their best wishes. But and he's it's just so I heard a guy on the radio this morning driving, sort of moaning and sort of saying that why is this guy dominating the news? There's people dying and other fighting in wars, and yeah, he had a point to an extent, but he just wasn't sure why this was big news, basically. So, but the reason why it's big news. Sorry, just close my door there. The reason why it's big news is because you wouldn't expect that to happen to a footballer. You wouldn't expect a fit footballer who have cardiac screening and medicals to suddenly just drop to the floor like that and have problems, cardiac problems. It's happened before. Obviously, those of you know Mark Vivian Foe, what happened to him, and it seems like there's a defect there. And a lot of people were saying that it's something that can't be detected. But I'll leave you to look at the news and stuff like that. I'll try and put some links below in this if you're interested in looking at different reports about it. But you can Google it. The title, the player's name, for those of you not familiar, is in the title, so you can Google it, and I guarantee it's what everyone will be talking about at the moment, obviously. But his current situation, he's stable in a hospital. They rushed him to hospital. He was anaesthetised, I believe, for 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that. And finally he's awake now and recognising people and speaking both English and also I think he's speaking French. I'm not sure. I think it's his native language. I'm not sure. Apologise for my ignorance in there, but I remember just reading a press report saying that he was speaking English and French. But he was born and raised, I believe, in Congo, and then moved over here to England. And as a result of that, he plays for he qualifies for the England football team, and he's played for the under-21 team a few times. So. Again, but apologise for my ignorance in that and his background if I've got that wrong. Just talking about the reason why I want to talk about really is the main study of care that he got. So obviously, like I said, they've anaesthetised him. He's woke up today, and he's stable at the moment, as opposed from the weekend where he was critical. Obviously, he's not out of the woods yet. They need to find out what happened, why, etc., etc. But going back to what I was saying before, you don't expect the football that to happen to a footballer. That's why it's big news. It's got nothing to do with the money they get paid. It's got nothing to do with, it's not nothing. Football related. It's not football related. It's a person. He's a family man. He's got a wife, and I believe his son's 3 years old. His birthday's next month, He's only 23, I think it is, as well. So, you know, he's got his whole life ahead of him. So the football is not even in question. You know, I'm a huge football fan, as you can see down there. I'm a West Ham fan. West Ham United are my team for my sins. But it sent shockwaves throughout everyone who loves football and who loves sport. You know, you just wouldn't have think that was going to happen. But the reason why, me personally, why it was affecting me, it's not, you know, in my family there's been cardiac problems and stuff like that, but it's not the reason why it affected me. I used to work in the emergency services. I lost my job, unfortunately, 6 months ago, but I spent 18 months working for the ambulance service. I'm going to say London Ambulance Service here in the UK, so I don't work for them anymore, so I'm sure I can say their name. I won't obviously divulge any information, but, you know, so, yeah, I went to a few cardiac patients and been to hospitals and stuff like that. But what I'm talking about has nothing to do with anyone or anything. It's more about the standard of care that you can give yourselves, and the first aid that you can give, and how essential it is to do that. You know, there's pretty many reasons why he survived. It could be down to his fitness, but yeah, I'm going to go down the reason why he survived is because when he was on the football pitch, he I believe he was shot. They used a defibrillator 6 times, and obviously gave him cardiac chest massage. When he was leaving the pitch, I believe they were still trying to restart his heart, and then his heart restarted on the way to hospital. And since then they've managed to keep it there. But you know, an interesting point that someone also raised on the radio this morning was it is down to his particular standard of care that he received. In my opinion as well, because Harry, one of the reasons, the main reason I'd say 95% why Harry survived, because if that had happened anywhere else, in a way, it sounds really stupid to say, he was kind of lucky that it happened when he had all them people around him, all the medical professionals were there, so they instantaneously, the equipment was there, both they were straight on to the chest and tried to revive him. If that had happened at home or somewhere else, and his family weren't, bless them, his family weren't aware of what to do, you know, that then vital few minutes after the incident occurring and the ambulance turning up, you know, could have been fatal. So I believe that it is the standard of treatment that he received. The NHS gets a lot of bad press in this country, but on this day they do a lot of good stuff that doesn't really get shown. And if this raises a profile of the work that the paramedics and people do, then I'm all for it as well, because you know, they do a great job behind the scenes. When I did the job, I never boasted about what I did, or, you know, because that wasn't why I got into the job. I got into the job because I wanted to help people and make a difference in people's lives. So, you know, I wanted to do something, make a difference, and try and save lives. It's not all about that. You know, in the job, you don't go to a lot of people that need life saving, but occasionally you do. So, but the job's rewarding regardless. You're making a difference in someone's life and making them better if you can, you know. So it gets a bad rep in this country sometimes, but you know, hopefully this will raise the profile of 2 things, in my opinion, 3 things rather. 1, about the standard of NHS and the standard of treatment in this country. 2, also the work, how important it is to learn first aid, which I'll cover in a second, and also 3, to make it yourself aware of cardiac problems and get regular screening if you can, and regular tests, because it becomes a very blasé thing over going to your doctors once a year and for regular checkups, and people go, oh no, I don't need to do that, and it just shows how important you need to, because you know, certain things can happen and just go wrong when we least expect them. Going back to the first aid thing, which is the main point of what I wanted to make of this, just purely from my background, I'm going to put some links below, a link or some links to St John's ambulance websites. Now I believe they're around the world, St John's. I'm also going to put a link to the UK one, but the same thing still applies. If you're not in the UK watching this, then just do a bit of research. Look at St John's in your neighbourhood. I'm sure they offer the same services. St John's is a registered charity here. I'm sure it's around the world, but here in the UK. And what they do, they spend their time educating people on the basics of first aid. And a great charity, and something that gets so overlooked. And even now, probably people watching this going, oh my God, and sneering at it. It's very important, people don't understand how important it is until it happens to you. Even me being qualified, if someone went into if someone cardiac arrest on me, for the first time it happens when I'm learning, when I'm still studying, I've got to deal with it. I'm taught the basics, and that's all you need to keep things going until more help comes along. So without that, it was me sitting there going, "Ooh, what do I do? I don't know what's happened." And this is what happens to a lot of people when it happens at home. If it's a member of your family or one of your best friends, you sit there, don't do nothing, and that makes a difference between them living and dying, then obviously you've got to live with that regret for the rest of your life. So it's very important. A lot of companies over here send people on first aid courses, and they always sneer and go, "We've got a first aid course tomorrow, boring," or training, first aid training, boring. Just learning basic CPR, is what I believe saved Fabrice Muamba's life. I know they had a defibrillator there and stuff like that, but even that's getting better in this country. They're in train stations and all sorts of things. But even if you can't, they haven't got one to hand. Get help. Do your best you can with your basic life support, and then when the ambulance turns up, they can take over. But you doing something that's better than you sitting there doing nothing for 10 minutes before the ambulance gets there. So whenever someone sends you on a first aid course, or you get the offer of first aid, or you don't know your basics, look it up and do some research. St John's, who I'll send a link to below, they can send you a free guide with all the basic stuff on it. So go check it out. Use the link below. Check it out. Get the guide sent to you. Have a read through. It's not like a massive book. It's just a guide with the basic stuff in it. Also, they on the iPhone. Most people have iPhones now. I believe it might be on the Android market as well. They've got an app. Download the app. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. It's got everything you need on there. For basic life support, if someone's choking, breathing problems, cuts, bruises. Everyone has an iPhone now. Even if you do, we will look at the training. So you can go on the training courses, or just if something happens in a restaurant. I know it sounds really stupid to pull out your phone. But phone 999, then use your app. It's got step-by-step guides on there to do what you can, But obviously, read stuff before that. You don't want to get into a restaurant and have to bring your phone out to go, right, okay, put hands on chest, right, I've done that. You want to be able to sort of know what you're doing. And it's not hard. If you look at the adverts with Vinnie Jones in the UK, the footballer, an actor in the UK, at the moment they're getting much maligned because people are saying, there's no breathing involved, or whatever. Doesn't matter. Let the medical professionals worry about that. If it happens to your family tomorrow, as Vinnie Jones says, on the chest, compressions, and that's what will, it doesn't always save people's lives. I'm not going to say that's going to save people's lives like that, but it might make a difference. So, is it worth really the risk finding out? Of course it is. It's a matter of life and death. Of course you need to find out. So, I'll put the link below to St John's. Have a look at what they do. Send off for the free guide. There's also the iPhone app. Download it. Also go onto YouTube. I'll put a link to their YouTube channel. Look at all their videos. They've got basic videos on there with the Arsenal player Jack Wilshere, Arsenal England player Jack Wilshere's on there, showing you what to do. Again, I believe that the football players are being trained in it now as well, because someone like Jack Wilshere, if he was playing on Saturday and it happened, then he'd be able to give immediate care straight away, wouldn't he? So, so it's something I believe that everyone should be trained in. Hope I've got that message across. Only purely speaking from a medical background, I've only been doing medical stuff for 18 months, but I know how important it is to do life support, because I've seen people rest in front of me, and I've seen people, live and die. So it's very important to get the right treatment. And if you turn to your neighbour or turn to a friend and say, would you know what would happen if I suddenly dropped dead in front of you, or not drop dead, but if I suddenly collapsed in front of you, would you know what to do? Most people would say no, I don't know what to do. And that's really, really bad, because you need to, and sad as well, you need to educate yourself. But that's the essence of it, really. So, iPhone app, link below, send off for the booklet, YouTube channel as well, I'll put the link for that as well. And lastly, I was going to say something else. I'll put the link also. I'm not a sick person, I'm not into the YouTube thing. There's no videos of Fabrice Muamba collapsing, because it happened off camera. They focused on him for a second, face down, and then panned away. I'll put the link to that below in case you didn't know what happened. And it's from the TV coverage as well, so there's nothing graphic or anything there. It's nothing to be gained from watching that. Just so you can become aware of it as well. And kudos to the Tottenham fans and Bolton fans and all the medical officials you'll see in the video how upsetting it was for everyone, and did a great job.